too soft, you can just let me know.
Oh, let me get all my stuff.
So hi everyone, I'm Agatrika Rath. I'm a product marketing manager with Experian, and I've been a part of Women in Product when I went to school. At that point of time, I thought it was just for product management, but product marketing is it's a new field, but I feel like there's a lot of similarities and a lot of work that product managers and product marketing managers do. So it's been a great community, and I thought it's time to let it give back based on what I know. And why did I choose go-to-market strategies? Because it took me a while to figure that out. Everybody writes, oh, I created a GTM strategy for this product launch. And I was like, what is this? I don't know what they're talking about. So I'll share what I know, the frameworks I use, some examples from my workplace, and hopefully it's useful to you, for your work. Before we start, I wanted to ask, how many are product managers over here? And anyone in product marketing? Are you in product marketing?
Oh, yeah, what?
They do it.
Awesome. So a little bit about myself before diving into the presentation. So I started my career in advertising in India, where I worked for big brands like Ogilvy, JWT, for brands like Google. A lot of my work was published in international journals like Campaign, US, and Clio Awards. It was a very fulfilling career. It paid me shit. I really enjoyed my time as a copywriter, and it taught me a lot about marketing, understanding your target audience, market research. I loved my time as a copywriter. And after that came a career pivot. I moved to the US in 2016. I married my lovely husband, who's here supporting me. And this is a part of my career trajectory that I never used to speak about earlier because I used to feel embarrassed. I moved overseas. My skills did not translate here. I did not get a job even though I could work here, and I like to call it my personal recession. Earlier I used to find embarrassing talking about it, but now I feel like it is important because for me, what it taught me that your career path does not have to be linear. It's okay to take pauses and detours and figure out things. Like I figured out dog walking as a lucrative business. If anybody ever went to Seattle, you would know the amount of dogs there are. I made a lot of money walking all the dogs of rich Amazon tech workers and Microsoft tech workers. So I tried opening my own business. That didn't work out. I still did dog walking, and that is one thing that taught me was that it's okay to try out different paths. And sometimes I used to feel like I did not belong. I used to get up in the morning, and we used to live in downtown, and I wanted to start my day, and I would get out and I would see all of these like busy looking Amazonians marching to work, and I was like, what are you doing? Why are you so stressed out? And I used to feel so left out. A lot of them were from India, so I always felt that tinge of jealousy that what is it that they have and I don't, and I felt like I can never break into tech, right? I missed my chance, but that wasn't true. I mean, after that I went to business school, and business school was pivotal for me because I enjoyed my time there, and it really helped me make that transition from advertising to, like just trying to figure myself out and into tech. I specialized in marketing, and while in school, I also started a meditation club, which teaches resilience through breathing techniques for both undergrad and grad students. And yeah, I had a great time in school, and it really helped me break into tech. Next, I graduated during 2020, the best time to graduate, but I started my first job as a product marketing analyst at TransUnion, where I did a lot of market research, voice of customer research, win-loss analysis to inform our go-to-market strategies. And after a short stint there, I moved on to becoming a product marketing manager at Experian. And at Experian, I work at the healthcare vertical, where we sell financial software to hospitals and health systems in the US. And over there, personally, I work cross-functionally with GTM teams, and then also like work on sales enablement, messaging, positioning to support those go-to-market strategies. Anybody who works in health tech here or like insurance?
Yeah.
What do you do?
I was at Sondermind for a
Gotcha.
while, and then now one of my clients that I'm contracting with, they do like diagnostics and treatment recommendations for anxiety and depression.
Oh, nice.
I also worked at Sunday.
Oh, hey, what's up? How are you?
Look at that. Really?
Yeah.
Cool.
And Kelly, I know you spoke about like your insurance. Yeah. So yeah, my work is basically like our software. If you go to a hospital, you don't have your insurance card, you don't have your insurance, you don't have anything on you. We have enough data to figure out what is your insurance number, how to contact you, what is your propensity to pay score for a bill, and how do we contact you to pay for the bill. So if you get a collection bill from a hospital, I'm sorry about that. All right. So for today's agenda, I'll just quickly go through this. I'll speak a little bit about an overview of what is a go-to-market strategy, what are the key collaborators, I'll share a framework, what are some KPIs to measure, and also, I don't have it over here, but how product managers and product marketing managers can work together to create a successful GTM strategy, a group exercise, and then question Q&A towards the end. So let's start. What is a go-to-market strategy? There are so many definitions out there, and if you Google and read a lot of those definitions, I can guarantee you they all sound so confusing, at least for me. But to put it simply, it's making money, it's maximizing revenue, right? Why do anything if it's not making you money? So maximizing revenue by focusing on growth of a particular product. And some key attributes of a go-to-market strategy are that it needs to be repeatable. You create a process, you create these steps that you can repeat not just for one product, but multiple products across your portfolio. It needs to be scalable, right? Maybe today you're launching a new feature and tomorrow you're launching another product in a completely different market. Your framework needs to be solid so that you can scale it according to the business goal or the opportunity that you're targeting. And it needs to be in alignment. Any process or framework that is created in a silo is bound to be a failure. I see a lot of times, there's this idea that go-to-market strategy is only owned by a product marketeer or a product manager, but it's actually it's the most collaborative process in an organization, and you need to have visibility and buy-in from these key collaborators. Otherwise, you'll just be, yeah, this product is ready for a launch, and the people you need to work with, the collaborators you need to work with, you're just setting them up for failure. I also want to talk about what a go-to-market strategy is not. One thing I keep on hearing is that a go-to-market strategy is always for a new product launch. And that's not always true, especially if you work for a company like mine, where it takes years for a product to be developed, right? At least I remember the last product we launched, it took us 4 years to go through the new product development process, especially when you have, when you work with patient data, you have HIPAA laws. So, yeah, does anybody else want to share, like, how long does it take their company to bring out a new product? It takes a while. So yeah, it's not always for new product launches. It's not a marketing plan. A marketing plan is a part of a go-to-market strategy, but it's not to be confused with a marketing plan. And the last is, it goes beyond your launch. Your go-to-market strategy does not end with launch. After launch, you need to see what are your results. Is it what you were looking for? And iterate based on what you're seeing. Maybe you completely failed. How many of us have had product launches that have failed over here, right? You did your research, product market fit, and that happens. That's going to happen. Like, maybe there's a new regulation, or your competitor just came up with a similar product and they have better integration. What are you going to do? So, the GTM strategy goes beyond launch, and based on whatever results you get, you need to iterate your whole strategy accordingly. And when I was talking about it's not always for new product launches, go-to-market, these are some use cases for go-to-market strategy when you're bringing existing products to new markets, bringing new products to existing plus new markets. You're cross-selling one product to another existing client. That happens in my industrial law. Like, you suddenly realize that maybe this software that works for a hospital can work for a lab too, right? You're not creating a new product, you're just launching it in a new market, and you already have those clients. You're trying to cross-sell them and increasing share of wallet. How do you make your current clients pay for the same product but pay more for it? Next is, who are the key collaborators? As I said earlier, go-to-market strategy that has been created in silo is just a recipe for failure. And this is an example of what we do in my current organization. And it's still not the full picture. There are more collaborators out there. But it starts with the finance team, right? The finance team they give you a forecast, a revenue forecast, that we expect 5% increase, for this product portfolio as compared to, the rest of the portfolio. And that sets a lot of things into motion. And just imagine if you're working on a feature, right? Like a go-to-market strategy for a feature or a product, and finance doesn't think it's going to bring in a lot of money. It's just going to be such a waste of time, right? And that has happened. That has happened with us, where we spent a lot of our time and resources creating a strategy for something which did not have a lot of profitability to begin with. It wasn't a bad product. We just didn't crunch the numbers to see if we can bring in that much money. Finance also decides the budget that you get for your strategy, so that you can allocate those resources accordingly. Then comes strategy. I know some organization strategies roll up under product management, but yeah, this is a crucial department that helps you understand the competitive landscape and the total addressable market and serviceable obtainable market. How many of us are aware of Tan Sang Som? It's important, even if you're not the one who's creating it. I would always say that whoever is creating it in your organization, always ask them for that to get visibility, to really know what is the market that you can realistically sell into. And I don't know why a lot of times this is hidden. I don't know, but there's a high chance if you ask for it, if you can find out who's doing that work, it gives you visibility into the profitability of your go-to-market strategy. Next is, of course, product management and product marketing. They're important drivers to grow this strategy. Sorry, I'm a little out of breath. I'll drink some.
You're also welcome to sit if you need to.
Oh, that's fine. I'm just. So this is the framework that we created in our organization. And this is an overview. An overview meaning that you can delve deeper into one of these, rows over here. But just for the interest of time, I've given you an overview of the framework. And the first thing that is most important is to figure out what is the business opportunity of this, go-to-market strategy that you're creating for this product. Anybody wants to give an idea about, how to calculate your business opportunity? But there are lots of different ways to do that.
I feel like one of the things we've done is like partnering with finance.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's really important. And then also sort of having you're very optimistic hypothesis, your medium, and then your pessimistic hypothesis, because sometimes you don't. Sometimes maybe because it's not a brand new product, but sometimes you don't know. And so having those here's realistic, here's a pessimistic, and here's optimistic, it helps kind of set that expectations. And then we're going to come back and see how we did, to see where we kind of fell in this. But sometimes it's really hard, especially if it's brand new, to quantify that.
Yeah, it's so hard, right? But you still need direction, right? Like, where do I focus my resources? Like, if you're in an organization where you only have a few product marketeers and product managers, you need to know, should I focus on this product or that? And if you don't have that quantifiable measure, it's so hard, right? One thing that we do in our team is, if we do not have the overall business goal from the product managers, we work with them. I mean, my product managers I'm friends with them, but if we cannot figure out the goals, we will not work on the go-to-market strategy. We need to figure that out first. And how do we do that? I'll move to.
And Rachika, can I ask a question on when you're sizing? I think a lot of folks here in B2B, I'm not sure if this is the right way, but in most of my experience, it's done based on our bets about pipeline.
Yeah, exactly, pipeline.
Or, what's going to help us, retain customers through a contract renewal, that sort of thing. Would that count in your mind as?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and actually that's what I was going to come across. So, deciding your goals. What is your goal for this go-to-market strategy? Is it growing your product into a new market? And what is that? Is it a conservative number? Is it 20%? How did you get to that 20%? And that's where the pipeline comes in, right? If you had a pipeline of 1.8 million last year, what would it look like this year? And then you clearly write it down over here. And is it realistic, right? If I'm saying that I want a pipeline for $5 million this year, where is that coming from? Have we done the math for the pricing? And it seems really hard, but if you do just a little bit of back of the envelope math, you can come up with those numbers, even if they are percentages. And some of them can depend on your gut, right? You might not have data to back it up based on your, and I'm talking from, again, like B2B Saas companies. It might not depend on your past win rates, right? If you don't have those numbers, but just guessing and like going through some gut, some instinct, you can figure out those percentages. And what would that look like for year 1, year 2, year 3? As I said, a go-to-market strategy does not end at launch, it goes beyond that. Is it retention? Are you trying to retain your existing clients from your competitors? Is it positioning, competitive positioning? Is it efficiency of your new product? So you have to figure out those goals and decide on those numbers for the first 3 years. And again, those goals also go back to, as I shared over here, it can be any of these things. Bringing new products, bringing existing products, cross-selling or increasing share of wallet. Any questions around the goals?
No, but I'll add, like at our company, if it was a module, we also did, it might not be a new product, but it might be a module that you could kind of upsell. And so we did that also with that, had a go-to-market strategy.
Yeah.
Too. And then I'll just also say we had our goals and we did what you were talking about with the, but we added a confidence score. So we added a low, mid, and high, and we added a confidence score, and we used that when we were talking with finance. We were a little bit different because we didn't have product marketing.
Yeah.
We had product, we had marketing, but they were different. Marketing really supported sales as opposed to like the go-to-market. And then we had finance. So I felt like product and finance were entwined in that area. And so that was, product drove finance, and then finance as the opposite. So it was a similar but different. But yeah, it's
Yeah, it depends, right, on your organization structure too.
Yeah.
Like in my organization, finance drives product, and a lot of times sales also drives product, right? That's why product marketing rolls up to sales in my organization. Some organizations, product marketing rolls up to product management. So yeah, I feel like those nuances come in when you have those, different organizational structure, but it's good to have those quantifiable measures that you can work towards, right?
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that. Yeah. What is the business opportunity and the strategy? And then next is, what is the offering? What is the solution that you're selling? This talks about not just your product. Like if everybody is selling the same product, honestly, there would be no differentiation. But this is where, product marketeers, product managers need to work. What is the product that we are trying to sell, which will really want the buyers to want to buy it? Otherwise, it's so easy to get lost in, the noise out there. And of course, like pricing and packaging to make it accessible to your buyers. You can have a great product. I've heard this so much. Like I've even seen memes like the product will sell itself, right? Well, there needs to be a need, right? Like think about it. Like a Tesla, right? A lot of people think people buy a Tesla is because it's a great car, but there are people who can, afford that car and then they don't buy it because they don't see the need for it. Similarly, we are talking about an offering. matter how great your product is, you need to like, make it wanted by your audience and also make it accessible to them. If it's super expensive and it does not meet their need, then there's no point of it, right?
How do you deal with a product or an engineering team that's accustomed to just throwing things over the wall?
Oh yeah, that happens. Like,
They're like, why haven't you done a product plan for us?
yeah, and like then they said, oh, this client wanted this feature. Like one client out of 200, yeah, and like we want to, yeah, that happens. I haven't found an answer to do that. Yeah, that's when we go back to this. Like, tell me, what is it? How much money is it bringing? If it's just a fancy feature that, it's a fancy feature that you can like put in your resume, then no.
Can I ask on this a potentially low level question? How would you, two more forward where you were.
Okay.
Can you tell, like growth and retention, I feel like I can envision what those numbers would look like better. Can you describe like what position and efficiency might look like here?
Yeah, positioning in terms of like competitive positioning, winning business from your competitors. That's what I believe positioning is.
Okay.
We recently did that. Actually, a lot of our competitors also did that. I don't want to give too much information. I'll just, there was a data breach for a major insurance company. So a lot of our clients were looking to move out from that vendor. So that is what positioning, competitive positioning is. How many clients we could win from that competitor, and how much would that look like in terms of percentage? 20%, 15%, yeah. And efficiency is, this is where I feel like a lot of features come in, and how efficient is your existing product becoming, right? Is it solving more manual work? Is it bringing in automation? That's what I believe.
Like operational efficiency.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yes, cost.
Okay, it makes sense. Thank you.
And a lot of my examples will be from B2B, SaaS companies. So yeah, if you want some other example, maybe we can brainstorm about that. Yeah. Who will we focus on? This again talks about the market segments. How do you break up your market? And this can be, I'll give you our example. For us, it's mainly based on, since I work in the US hospital and health system market, it's based on EHRs, electronic health record system. So most of our market is divided based on what EHR the hospital is using, and the primary, monopolies by Epic. So if we have that number, like, okay, we will go after the Epic market segment, and that is 70% of the total hospitals in US. So that gives you a number to work towards, and you know which market you're going and the kind of integration you would need just for that market. The buyer audience and the buyer needs, what the group of buyers you're targeting, figuring out their jobs to be done, the personas. Has anyone else like worked on jobs to be done over here in the organization? Do you want to share a little bit about it?
Yeah.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot. Yeah.
I work in ad tech for CTV. So we work with a lot of advertisers on the demand side and then publishers on the supply side. So we do jobs to be done for both sides. So for like publisher, like Warner Brothers, like HBO Max, right? Like what is their job to be done? They want to fill their ad slots with the highest quality inventory. And for an advertiser, what's their job to be done? They want to reach the right audiences and have their campaign goals met. And then you kind of really get into, well, how do we actually do that from an ad product perspective?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thanks for sharing.
I'll say even in the same, if you have one type of customer, it can change a lot depending on like where they live, or it's not just like what you're doing, I guess. I used to be in product development with baby diapers, so you're all dealing with moms as your customer, but what you're designing for in South America is very different from Korea, very different from the US. Like in South America, if you have a baby diaper that's super thick, it's viewed as it's going to absorb more, whereas in the US, people want it more thin, for example, or whatever. But so it's important to keep in mind that just because your consumer might be the same, but if you're in Texas versus South Dakota, it might be also very different desires.
Yeah, true, right? Like it's just they have different desires, and it's a journey, right? As you mentioned, when a buyer looks for a solution, they don't like wake up one day like I'm going to buy this software or I'm going to buy this product. They are looking to solve tasks in that journey, and they don't know what is out there, and that's where we need to come in, figuring out what is their jobs to be done, and how can our product or products help solve them. And it doesn't have to be just one product, it can be a combination of products. Especially in our organization, the way we try to sell our products is that jobs to be done. A patient comes into the hospital, so you need software in the front end. Register them, schedule them, and then they move out. When they have got their treatment, their diagnosis. So you need a bunch of software towards the end. Figuring out what their insurance was, how to reach out to the insurance company to get your claim paid. So it's not one product that's solving their problem, but a bunch of solutions to meet their needs. And the last is how will we reach the market? Positioning, value proposition. I bet people know about it here already. What are the routes to market? Especially if you work in an enterprise software solution, you have to figure out, is it, at least for our organization, we figure out what are the geographies our sales teams go to, and do we partner with sometimes the EHR that we are trying to sell, because it's a tricky position for us when we try to partner with EHRs like Oracle and Epic. They sometimes have the same solution that we do. So, it's in an ideal world, your partner would be your best friend, but most of the times the partners also end up being your competitors. So how do you position yourself at the same time not alienating yourself from these partners? And launch approach, like what is the timeline, what are the promotions, what are the campaign goals, how are you going to measure them, etc.
Yeah, that's a good question. Like, so in my world, like the buyer audience is not the user audience. They're really different. Do you bring in the user at all, like thinking about like increased support calls or operations like documentation or those things too, or do you focus mostly on like the revenue and the buyer personas as opposed to like the user personas?
Gotcha, that's a great question. And even in our organization, it's the same. The user is not the same person as the buyer. Like the person who is scheduling a patient for their appointment is not the VP of finance, right? But they are the one who are buying the software. So for us, most of the times you have seen we focus on the buyer audience, at least for the go-to-market strategy, because they are paying for the software, right? We need to influence them. They are the ones handing out the money. But that does not mean that you don't focus on the users, especially if you're a product manager or the developer or the UX designer. Because if you buy a product that your user has a hard time using, it does not help them and actually creates inefficiency for them, it's going to backfire. So for the go-to-market strategy, I would definitely, we focus on the buyer audience, the users more for the product and the development team. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
And a lot of times, what we did was when I joined, we did not have buyer personas. We all had user personas, and I actually created buyer personas for the people that we sell to, and we realized we just sell to the same people. It's the VP of revenue cycle or the VP of finance, And it was enlightening for us because we realized that they are just these 2 or 3 leaders who are making the decision for such a huge hospital and health system. They might be managing thousands of people all across California, but it's just that one person who has the power to buy that product. Okay, how to measure success? For this, I focused primarily on product management and product marketing. Before I move on, Jess, can you do a time check for me?
It is 5:57, so you are great on time.
Okay.
We've had some great questions.
Awesome. So yeah, whatever you do for measuring success, it all comes down to this goal that you decided, whether it's brand awareness, how many people went to your website, leads generated. It needs to align to this business goal that we spoke about over here. If it is not, it does not make any sense. And for product management, what I have seen primarily is it is a lot around product usage, product adoption. Sometimes it can be daily average users, monthly average users. For us, we have contracts for our products. So we look at pipeline generated, and product adoption, net new customers. Pipeline generated, I feel like that's a KPI that's relevant across all the teams, whether it's operational, sales, etc. For product marketing, primarily it is marketing pipeline generated, closed won deals, leads generated, and then there are some marketing KPIs also. It depends, like if you are doing content marketing, what are the leads how many downloads people have done to your white paper, or how many people attended your webinar, and what's the pipeline generated from that. But again, at the end of the day, it all needs to align with your main business goal. Another thing I wanted to add over here was that there are other KPIs too when it comes to departments like operations, sales. So they might have their own KPIs. Like sales might have 6 deals to close this fiscal, and 6 deals, say 1 deal per sales territory, which is for $1 million. So they might have specific deals. Again, it goes back to that same goal. Operations, it depends, like does anyone work with the operations team over here, operations or customer success? Do you want to share?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like some of the other work streams, like that alignment early on, I think is so critical.
Yeah.
Because if the ops team isn't in line, they're like, well, we have all these questions and we don't know what to tell our customers, and it's, I think that early, and if you can have like the same North Star, I think that's great, even though each of those individual teams is going to have their very specific metrics.
Mm-hmm.
I think for us, sometimes it's a challenge because all these work streams want to bring in their individual metrics to the big picture. But
Yeah.
like, look, we need 3 or 5, like, and that's it. And then within your team, you can have your very specific, like, leading things that are going to contribute to those overall. But sometimes I think we get bogged down in like very specific operational metrics, where that team should do that, and not necessarily the holistic product.
Yeah, agreed, right? Otherwise, it's just that sometimes I feel like we get so siloed into our own teams and our own metrics that we forget about that main goal. And that happens with us too. That happens with us. Like, I'm in product marketing. I don't do content marketing or marketing operations, but a lot of times, sometimes the marketing KPIs revolve around, what is it called? PPC, like the leads that you generate from your PPC. That won't be relevant to the product manager, right? Or this goal. So yeah, there needs to be that alignment, and there needs to be buy-in from your leadership too, right? Leadership wants to know how much revenue you generate, not how many people visited the website, right? Like, you can have so many people visit your website, but if you're not earning money, what's the point? And another thing I wanted to share about operations is we might have a great product and a great go-to-market strategy, but if you're not able to deliver on our promise on how our product works, say I sold you your product and I'm taking 1 year to implement it, that's not going to work, right? That's going to create more attrition than it would have if we did not launch this new product. So when we are trying to build up these metrics, we need to realize that we have realistic goals and goals that make things easier for our clients, not make things worse, right? And this happened with us. One of our products that we launched, it took us 7 months to implement, and customer satisfaction was pretty bad. So it did not matter how good the product was if we were not delivering on time. Next is, this is a go-to-market strategy example that whatever cost savings they can do with while buying our solution. All right. Next, I'm going to talk about the PM and the PMM partnership. This is me. This is my product managers, but they are my best friends. Yeah, it wasn't like that in the beginning, but I made friends with them. They like me now. How many of us over here do both? Like, I know some PMs have to do PMM. Yeah.
Does anyone have a dedicated PMM?
Ours was budget cut.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think I'm very lucky, but it's new. So.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, like even in my organization, we have more product managers as compared to product marketeers. And I manage around more than 10 products. It's hard to be, like even after 3 years, I'm still trying to learn the nuances of each product. I guess it's budgetary constraints. I mean, unless you work at an organization like Amazon, at least not in we don't have a lot of product marketeers.
Ours are aligned vertically. So I happen to have I lead a vertical, like this transition to, I have like a product that cuts horizontally and then vertically, because I have that responsibility. So I have a product marketer that I'm working with, like on a vertical, stands for like our whole company.
Oh, that's
So
nice.
it's not like, I wish there was a 1-to-1 ratio always. So,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, even I wish that in.
Kind of jealous.
Yeah.
Like, it'd be nice to have someone to do some of that.
My data sheets are rogue.
Or
I don't know.
And even that ratio also decides which go-to-market strategies our teams will work on. And literally, I can tell you, when projects come to us, this is what decides what project I'm going to work on. If something is 10% and another is 50%, I'm not going to work on the 10% one, no matter how cool that project is. So yeah, in an ideal state, it would be good to have a 1-to-1 ratio, but I guess it is what it is. And a lot of people think that PMM is a new role, but it's been around for a while. It used to be called Technical Marketing Manager earlier. Has anyone heard of that role before? Yeah, I did not. And apparently Satya Nadella used to be a Technical Marketing Manager at Microsoft. I'm like, okay, I'll see you. So that's pretty cool. But it's been around for a while, and it was seen as an amalgamation of a developer, a PM, a product manager, and a marketing manager. I don't know how they did it all, but apparently they did it. In an ideal state, PMMs and PMs, they work together. They have the same goals in mind for the product, and they know what's going to happen next. But in reality, what happens is a lot of times, product marketing manager and PMs, they end up working in silos. And when a new project comes up or a new development happens with the product, a lot of times it comes up as a surprise, especially for the product marketeer. Something that we did in our organization to work around this was have a regular calls around the product and to communicate with the with the product management team that listen, when we are communicating any advancement with the product, we need to speak in a language that everybody understands. Yeah. Constant communication, visibility to the roadmap is what I believe takes away those unpleasant surprises and helps working together, especially for like launches or any go-to-market strategies happen more successfully. In an ideal state, the product manager owns the roadmap, but the PMMs also influence the roadmap and they have visibility to the roadmap. Sometimes the reality is the product marketeers, they don't have any visibility to the roadmap. We don't know what feature is coming in Q3 and suddenly like, hey, we need to launch this feature like next sprint, right? And that
write content for it, thanks Ali.
Yeah. And then you're like, I don't even know what is this, and you have no idea because you need to understand what is being sold, when was this developed, how is this going to help. And a lot of times, product marketeers, when they are speaking with clients, whether it's for a case study or say at a conference, they have feedback from clients that can influence your roadmap, right? So yeah, I would recommend if you work with PMMs, give them visibility to the roadmap, explain things to them that they don't understand, right? Like a 5-year-old. To make things work in a more cohesive manner. In an ideal state, both the PM and the PMM, they have understanding of the market, the competition, and the buyer and user needs like we were talking about. But in reality, what happens, because of resource and budget constraints, there is limited access to the market research data. And that's just not for product marketeers, but for product managers too. So a lot of times, you'll be doing like guessing, and that just does not work. I feel like you're just like Googling stuff or asking ChatGPT. There needs to be access to this market research data. Either you do it yourself, your product manager does it, an analyst does it, or the strategy manager does it. This will inform you what you need to do, how much time you need to like spend in that project, and what your market and your buyers should need. Last is alignment on GTM planning and timing. How many over here have been in a position where someone came and said we are launching something next week? Yeah, that has happened. How does that make you feel?
Where was I? When did this happen?
Yeah.
Tell me more.
What is this? This is our product? That has happened with us too. I even saw a meme around it. This puts everyone in a reactive mode, right? You're not providing your stakeholders with the best information out there. You're losing out on planning something. What if this program doesn't work out? What if this campaign doesn't work out? So it's chaotic, it's unplanned, and it leads to the loss of strategic power. Then what happens is you just see your product marketeers or even just like someone who's in content marketing as tactical partners, not strategic partners, right? Okay, they are just there to do a product sheet. How many have heard that, can you make this presentation pretty? Right? Like I have had people, not my product managers, have told them no. We build that relationship, but there are still like, stakeholders who come and say, can you make this presentation pretty? Like, do I put lipstick on it? What do you mean? Right? There needs to be some strategic thinking behind the tactical measures that you do, and not having that alignment and not letting your PMM and other stakeholders know ahead of time leads to the loss of that strategic power. Any questions around this?
You need to reprimand your product managers if you have no visibility to the roadmap. That's all I have to say. That should be visible to everybody. Like the roadmap should be visible to the entire company.
Yeah, that's true. As I said, me and my product managers, we are friends.
Yeah.
Right now, we had to build that relationship, and it's hard. It's hard to build that relationship because before me, it was just one product marketeer who was my boss, and she was the director of product marketing, and there were 10 product managers. Maybe she could not attend all the meetings to see all the roadmaps, and it's hard, right? So building that operational efficiency. Internal operational efficiency is really important when you have those, budget constraints that we're talking about.
I just wanted to offer some maybe tactical advice. So I'm in product leadership with smaller companies under 100 people, and I basically just got pretty tired of the dysfunction that happens typically between the PMM and PMs, and basically just ran it as an experiment where PMMs just attend all product meetings.
Yeah.
That's it. And then, literally no one could see a downside to that, and that just became the norm.
Yeah.
So, as you said, PMMs, there are probably fewer of them than PMs, so they can't physically maybe attend every single meeting, but it really works, just to have them at least feel included into every conversation. And I got a little bit of pushback from PMs originally, but then in the end, they all saw the upside. And then another just tactical thing is just running a async doc or Notion page or whatever you have in the company, where every week by a certain hour, PMs and PMMs both enter launch is sleeping by a week. Okay, great. So I guess we're adjusting the launch, and that just collaboration happens async. Again, especially where you have that, I guess the difference of number of PMMs to PMs. I think it's just keep it in a running doc, and then everyone can see how schedule has changed, or we've decided on a new name, or something's adjusted.
Yeah.
We had a weekly meeting. So we had a weekly meeting, and it originally was a status meeting before I joined, like a weekly. Where's development stand? Where's this stand? Where's that stand? And we shifted it to a roadmap meeting where it was okay because everybody knew the status. We all were on stand-ups. Everybody kind of knew where the status was, and we shifted it to a roadmap meeting. And that completely changed the vibe as far as the influence, and people knew what was coming. So operations could say, okay, you're planning on launching this, August 1st. Do we need to staff up our customer support? Do we need to have more logging as far as making sure that things are not crashing on us? These types of things. And so shifting that roadmap meeting and allowing marketing, because even marketing, we didn't have product marketers, I wish we did, but our marketing team also, they kind of attended maybe every 3 weeks or so, or once a month, but it also gave them that understanding of what was coming up, and I think that was really helpful, just that nobody really needed another status meeting, but everybody, the roadmap meeting was pretty, it made it really, gave them everybody that visibility to the roadmap. And if someone had something, even if sales said, we have the opportunity to sign this massive new customer if we put this in, and it actually allowed everybody to influence the roadmap, that we could shift and have that discussion even with, there was no surprises for anybody, that we could have that discussion with anybody influencing the roadmap at that time. It was pretty, really helpful.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
When I started working with kind of my industry product marketer pair partner, we had a lot of discussions about what do you need to be successful, in your kind of your gates that you're trying to make towards our launch, because my company taking work from backwards, and I found out things that I'd be aware of these things. I'd be like, wow, that input could be especially helpful, to my product marketing partner, and then we also had different definitions of things, in my discovery and my when I'm in that problem phase of launching a new product in 2023. I'd done a lot of market research and customer research, but what my research and my customer research was very different angle and perspective than what she, how she would approach market research. So it was also having going over whether it be experiences or what an idealistic state
state was as far as like laying out, your full product launch plan. It was important to kind of like walk through that for us both, because I was coming from an experience where I had it was corporate marketing and product and no product marketing in between. And she was coming from, Experian. We actually, funny enough, worked with the same person from Experian, and she's at my company. We had to kind of figure out where we were gonna where we kind of overlapped, where we had separation, and then where could we always be more efficient with each other.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of discussions. It just came down to a lot of talking about what are we needing as we're kind of going along to get to this launch.
Yeah, that's so true. And when you mentioned that, I wanted to quickly bring up this framework again. Your product marketeer, you cannot bring them here. How will we reach the market? They need to be included right here. When you're even figuring out your goals and your competitive landscape, because you'd be surprised to know even marketeers, product marketeers, they have so much market knowledge and client knowledge because maybe they're speaking to the clients during sales calls. I'll tell you, if you want to get the best market research data, speak to your salespeople, right? They are just it's all up in here. I wish I could record, go in their brain and record everything. But yeah, your product marketeer needs to be involved right from this phase, not from here. So thank you for sharing that. And you also shared about, right, having that one common, common space where you can have visibility to the roadmap, whether it's a Notion page or a conference page. Everybody needs to have visibility to the roadmap. Even though I do not understand when my product manager writes, migration to AWS migration. What are you talking about? What are we migrating?
That's your secret roadmap.
Yeah, I get it, but that everybody needs to have visibility, and influence needs to come from all stakeholders. Otherwise, as I said, this is going to fail. And then, go ahead.
I just wanted, similar to Maria, I wanted to share, anyone who's worked with me before has heard me say this. There's a lot of jobs in product that are not your job, but they're gonna hurt you if they don't get done.
Yeah.
So I think that we're talking a lot about an ideal world where you have a PMM or you have a dedicated PMM. Most of the time you may not. Mm-hmm. That still, whether you have one or not, the function still needs to be accomplished. So I have heard many a PM over the years say, but I built it. Why doesn't the CS team understand it? Why aren't they selling it? Why are they selling it in that weird way that isn't how it actually works? Those are your signals that function was never done properly.
Yeah.
To your point, I know we all have a lot on our plate. So I would encourage you, if you don't have a PMM, to notice which of your projects and initiatives most require the PMM motions, and to either own those or make sure they get owned. Because that will ultimately come back to bite you, right? If we had built this thing to accomplish a certain goal, mm-hmm. and the reason it failed was simply a lack of awareness or a lack of enablement.
And ask for it, yeah. I was gonna say, don't be afraid to ask for it.
Yeah.
If you ask your leadership. If you see that gap, mm-hmm. and they can say, well, we'll give that to marketing, or we can give it to we'll give it to anything, but it doesn't always have to fall on your plate.
Yeah, for sure. I've seen it handled by the PM themselves if they were able, if it was a large initiative. I've seen it handled by marketers for sure. I've even seen it handled by folks on the sales team, right? Like when someone needs to sit down and decide on the pricing or decide on, is it an add-on, is it something else? Like the unfortunate cases is when we're about to launch it and we realize we need the ability to turn it on and off because we want to charge for it, but we actually didn't build it that way. Like those are your big signals, right? That upstream we missed the conversation.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, even in my organization, product marketing, the function was only created in 2019. I joined in 2021, and I still tell people I don't write the blogs. Somebody else does, but I mean, we are still educating them. But yeah, it's like if you see the need, ask for it. Yeah. Are we ready for an exercise then?
Yeah. What do we think? thanks. So we got some feedback from the last talk that people were like dying to try it. So let's do this. I think we have some natural groups already forming. So I'll play facilitator a little bit. So I'm thinking if we're good with it, let's stick to like no more than maybe 4 people. So we got 4 here, maybe 4 here. And then let's be friends here. Get into little groups of 4 maybe. And if we have extra folks, that's fine. So the idea for this is, you know, maybe you have a PMM, maybe you don't. But we talked about a lot, and here's a fun fact, because I've spent a lot of time teaching adults. If we don't use it, we lose it. Like, you will go home, you'll watch Netflix, and then be gone. So I want you to challenge yourself to pick one of these 2 prompts. And you know, it's totally up to you, whichever one sounds exciting. One could be to launch the Peloton, or insert your favorite product, doesn't matter, in a different country, particularly maybe India, as continued product. Yeah, I'm assuming on this one we're thinking, like, would you launch it maybe?
Yeah,
Like a
you
bet.
launch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this can be, I just gave this Amazon dash buttons as an example. If you have anything else in mind,
Yeah.
go for it.
Yeah.
Both got some wild stuff.
Yeah, I remember those.
So obviously, go-to-market strategy is not a 20-minute effort or endeavor. So the goal here is not to like create something written, but I want you all to like challenge yourselves to talk through the ideas that you would actually have, so you can start to practice this idea. So we'll leave the prompt for the strategy up on the screen. And yeah, if we could go back to, I think it's slide 6. You know, at the very least, I want you to start to consider the questions in dark blue. So, like, what is the business opportunity and strategy that we might take? Okay, so if we're launching Peloton in India, I don't know about you all, but I don't know off the top of my head if there's any other Peloton type companies in India.
There isn't actually.
Okay.
There
you go.
Very few.
Yeah.
Are you just incubating here?
So we're trying to focus. But yeah, start to focus on these big blue questions. So I'll prompt you as time goes on. There are 4, right? Okay. So there's 4. So I'm thinking we're going to spend about 5 minutes on each one. So use your time wisely. Discuss. The idea is to just focus on the thinking. If you know me, I pick on product folks for collecting their little basket of certifications and their little bucket of frameworks. Because it makes us feel good. Just think. I'm literally just asking you to think and talk and, you know, make assumptions. Talk about what research you might go out and do, right? I don't care what format it would take. You don't have to write anything down. I want you to challenge your brain through these questions. Cool? So I will focus on the time, 5 minutes on each blue one. Question.
Restrooms.
Oh, yeah. Right out the door, you came in behind the yellow wall.